Hi, welcome to another episode of Trapper Jinx. We're going to be doing a beginner series here today. I'm going to show you how to properly set a foothold trap, or a paw hold trap more specifically. We will be demonstrating on the Coilspring trap and also the double Longspring trap. So I'm glad you're here with me today, and just hang in there, and this will be fun. Alright, we're going to start with the Coilspring trap. As you can tell, this is a land trap. We'll be setting those for raccoons, coyotes. We can set these for anything that travels along the land. This is not a killer trap, obviously. I'm in no kind of pain or discomfort. It does pinch my hand a little bit. Of course, I'm wearing gloves, as you can tell. There is quite a bit of tension in these springs, so I don't recommend you doing that at home. You do want to check with your local state laws and regulations concerning the setting of these traps. Some cities will prohibit the setting of these in city limits. You want to make sure that you want to follow all your state and local laws concerning these types of traps. Also, sometimes they ask you to identify your traps with a trap tag, so we'll make sure that gets placed on there. But that is the Coilspring trap. Okay, this is the double Longspring trap. This is a foothold trap. It's going to capture the animal right in here, just like I did with the coil springs. Same thing. A lot of the local state and regulations, they may also have you put a trap tag just like that on there. And you want to make sure that you follow all your state and local laws concerning the setting of these traps so that you're following the rules on those. Okay, I'm going to run you over the basics and the components of the trap. Now, this will be important for when you watch our videos later on in the fall. There's oftentimes I'll be talking about the dog of the trap. This is the dog. I'll oftentimes be talking about the jaws of the traps. This is the jaws. These are called the trap levers, okay? These things right here. So we're going to push these down to set the trap, obviously. All of the power in this trap, why we call it a coil spring trap, is right in here in these coils. That's where the power is all stored. Another real important component that we talk about is the base of the trap. A lot of times when I'm setting traps, if you can see that, I'll say, hey, make sure the base of your trap is level. So that's important as well. Another thing is the pan. This is called the pan. It moves up and forth. And then lastly, I don't know how well we can see that, it's called the pan notch. It's where the dog connects right here, and that's what actually sets that. So, dog, pan notch, pan. No, there won't be a quiz on this, but you can let, you know. Trap lever, base, jaws. So the jaws on the trap, I haven't demonstrated that yet, will split. So when I do the setting of the trap, which I'm doing now, this is a brand new trap, by the way, I haven't modified it in any way. You're going to have two jaws of the trap. Now when I set the trap, I want to keep my hand completely clear of this area. There's a lot of tension in these springs. I want to make sure that I don't get snapped in the finger. It's very painful. It just can be very painful. So this jaw right here is called the loose jaw. Why is that important? I can move the loose jaw all I want. And as long as my hand, or whatever I do, is on this side. So if you're just starting out, I would practice setting the loose jaw up. So that when you put your pan cover, you can put anything you want on this side. That trap's not going to get you, okay? You have to be caught within those two jaws, if that makes sense. So, real basic. Another thing is the swivels on the trap, which is on this end here. So when you catch a critter, so to speak, the trap will move back and forth, and this is going to help with your trap. This is a universal swivel, or a stake. Same thing, another swivel here on the end with your chain, and you're going to use that attached to things. So those are all the basics with the trap. So you've got the jaws, the levers, the dog, pan notch, the base of the trap right in here, that's the base, and then your coil springs. So that's a coil spring trap. So the one thing about this one that's a little bit different, this is a smaller coil spring trap called a 1.5 or a 1.5. So the reason being is that the jaw spread on this is smaller than like a 2 or a 3 or a 4. So when you go to look at traps, the very basic, a 1.5 coil spring trap, which this will catch coyotes just fine, fox just fine, raccoons, you'll even hold a beaver if you have to. So maybe not ideal for beaver, maybe not ideal for some trappers on coyotes, but this was a real basic multi-purpose trap for land animals. Okay, this is the double long spring trap. It's very similar to the coil spring trap. The coil springs, the power mechanism is underneath it. In the power mechanism, the trap is actually right in here. Double long spring. 2 traps, double long spring. Really pretty simple. This is a number 11, which is a smaller style trap. I like to use these for raccoons. It's just my personal opinion. But you still have the dog. You have the pan. The pan notch on this one's right here. It goes in. So the base, and then the swivels on the bottom of this one here. And then of course there's your chain. Of course you're going to want to put your trap tag on there. You'll have that fastened as well. But that is the double long spring traps. Very similar to the coil spring trap. Okay, now I'm going to demonstrate how to properly set the coil spring trap. So I'm going to wear my gloves. And this is, I'm going to show you one of 2 ways. So if you're very much starting out, this might be the second way. So when you get a little more comfortable setting this trap, you might want to set it with your hands. Of course, if you're an adult, you're going to have a lot more power. Kids, I usually recommend setting it the other way, which I'll show you that in a minute. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press down on these 2 trap levers. And I want to make sure the dog is out in front. So I'm going to do that now. I'm going to press down, and I'm going to throw this jaw here over the top, and I'm going to connect it, and it's going to go over the top of the jaw and into the pan notch. Now when I connect that, I'm going to come underneath it with my hand. I'm going to go move the loose jaw all I want. I still have it right here, so it's not going to flop out of my hands. And then I'm going to push this, the pan notch, over the top of the dog. Once I get that done, I'm going to like to stick my thumb underneath that so that it doesn't move. Now I'm going to take my hand off. Now the trap is properly set. Later on, I'll show you now. The pan is really high because it's a brand new trap. I haven't modified it yet. I'm going to push that out. But that's properly set for now. Because it's brand new, the pan's high. And then that's how you properly set a coil spring trap. Alright, the second way to properly set a coil spring trap is I'm going to set it with my feet. So if you've got some younger kids, like 8, 10, 12, this is always a good way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to step my 2 feet here. And I'm going to keep my 2 feet here. And then, of course, obviously we got the dog to the front. I'm going to move that over. I'm going to connect it. I'm going to come underneath it. Just like I showed you on the other one. Now that my trap is set, I'm going to come off of the trap. There, I just properly set the trap with my feet. It's really easy. If you're afraid of the trap for the very first time, that might be the way you might want to set that trap first. Because I have complete control of the trap. My hands are out of the way. That's kind of how you do it. So remember, this is the loose jaw. I can move that back all I want. And there you go. You're properly set now. Okay, now that my trap is set off, now how do I get rid of it? Obviously, if I'm really scared, I'm going to put a stick in this. There. I just set off the trap. Another really good way to do that is to step on it. This is the one way I like. Now that the trap is set, I'm going to go ahead and step on it. As long as I step on this side of the trap, it's going to go off, and it's not going to capture me. It'll be just fine. There we go. We just properly set our trap. We just properly set off our trap. So, okay, now we're going to properly set the double long spring trap. It's really pretty simple. I like to set these over my knee. So I got the dog over the top, and I'm just going to push down with the 2 levers. I'm going to throw my thumb this direction. I'm just going to spread it open. I'm going to throw the dog over the top and connect it to the pin notch. Notice how I'm putting my thumb underneath the loose jaw? Now we're properly set. Really pretty simple. Okay, so in order to take off the trap or to depress the trap, I can either stick this stick right here like that, or I can just step on it with my foot because my foot's big enough. Just like that. That's how you do it. Alright, I hope you enjoyed that. So we properly set our coil spring trap. You guys should be really confident on how to do that. If you're not, keep practicing some more. So we got a lot of time between now and the fall. And also we learned how to set a double long spring trap. So you guys should be able to know the difference between the two. And I hope you enjoyed that video. And have a great day.